all the same. It's all Monday morning, every weekday feels like the same to me. Nothing that takes me places where I've not been. Nothing that makes me see things that I've not seen.
very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Tamya.
And I am Brani, and we'll be your MCs for today.
I would like to warmly welcome each and every one of you to this year's TEDx Youth at NgeeAnnPolytechnic.
TEDxYouth NgeeAnnP is proudly organized by the Sandbox, NgeeAnnPolytechnic's Office of Innovation and Entrepreneurship, and the Sandbox advocates NgeeAnnP's very own Innovation and Entrepreneurship Students Club. TEDxYouth NgeeAnnP 2021 is sponsored by a generous amount of 9 sponsors this year, bringing you tons of vouchers. Do check your goodie bags for the vouchers once you've collected them.
Yes, that's right. And moving on to our first sponsor, we would like to thank Sour Bomb, an artisanal bakery by the one and only amazing Genevieve, the runner-up for MasterChef, who also spoke for us in the 2019 edition. Thank you so much for sponsoring us the 10% off voucher. Do check out their artisanal croissant and signature donuts. And I just want to say, I've been seeing them a lot on TikTok.
Yes, I think there was a period of time my TikTok feed was just these donuts, and they look really good.
Really. Now we can get them at a discounted rate.
10%. I even saw them myself, and I gotta say, those donuts look bomb. Like
bomb, really bomb.
Thanks to Fairly and Vo for their 10% off. Do check out their cute dessert-inspired bath and body products, such as soap and body scrub, ready to make you smell sweet and bubbly for any occasion.
Yes, and thank you to Sweet Chicks as well for your 10% off. Do head down to Sweet Chicks at Ang Mo Kio, Potong Pasir, or Lavender to get your crispy waffles and creamy gelato ice cream. This is something you really wouldn't want to miss out on.
Yes, actually everyone behind the camera is actually saying that we need to go.
Yes, everyone is nodding.
Everyone's nodding, so I think we all should try that as well.
Yes, that's right. And thank you Acai Affair as well for your 10% off. We know you basic girls and guys love your acai bowls. We see them on Instagram stories all the time.
Every time.
Okay, but don't cancel me. Because Brani and I, we love our acai bowls as well.
Yeah, so I guess we're also basics, but you know what? Now we have the reason to go down and get it because we have a 10% off.
Yes, that's right.
Yes, but we also like to say a thank you to Kingdom Food Group as well for the amazing 15% off at One Sushi and I Am Kim Korean K BBQ.
Oh my god, mentioning about BBQ, I'm like really hungry now.
We
should get it after this.
We should get it after this. Yes, we should. And I cannot wait to eat their free flow of high quality buffet meat at I Am Kim Korean K BBQ. It sounds amazing. I've seen pictures of it. It looks great. I think we should definitely go and try it.
Yes, BBQ can never go wrong.
Yeah, it's a must-have.
Yes,
it's a must-have.
That's right. And thank you so much, Wonder Gelato, for 15% off your yummy gelato ice cream. I tried it once, and let me just say, it's incomparable.
It's the best?
Amazing.
It's amazing.
Yes,
okay.
yes. So you guys are really in for a treat because everyone with the goodie bag is going to get 15% off, not just this, but for all the sponsors that we're going to be mentioning. Yes, that's right.
Yep, and we also like to give a big thank you to Canvas Yogurt as well. For MP students and visitors, do check out our very own startup yogurt located at Agile at Block 58. With the vouchers this year, you are entitled to a massive 40%, I repeat, 40% off any yogurt drink that you get, which is amazing. That's very
almost
close to
half off.
Yeah, almost half off,
yes.
which is
And
great.
I would just like to use this opportunity to plug in, you know, really talented MP students.
Like,
that's right, like me.
You'll go and create for me yogurt now.
Okay, I try. Okay,
Yes.
and a huge thank you to Wat Tea, another talented MP startup as well, selling popular bubble tea flavors. So if you're in need of your bubble tea fix during class, you can just go get it during your break. And they're offering a huge 20% off your favorite drinks. So they can be found at Block 27.
Yes,
Block 27 in school. And you can get your earthy flavored, fruity flavored bubble tea by our very own MP students.
Yes, and a fun fact about Wat Tea is that you can actually customize your bubble tea according to your own preferences and your taste buds. They have this new way where you can choose every element that goes into it, and if you want that kind of power and control, head over to Wat Tea with this voucher.
Yes, we love customization.
Yes, we do. And lastly but not least, a massive shout out to all for you for sponsoring our favorite childhood snacks like chicken rings, super rings, and muruku. And honestly, tell me, if you have never eaten any of this as a child, were you living under a rock?
Yes.
But it's okay, don't worry. These goodies will be in the goodie bag as well. And we would just like to thank all for you for making this possible.
That's right. Brani and I were indulging in the snacks before this
Yes,
show.
right before this.
Yes.
And it was taking us back memories. It was amazing.
All right, that's right. Okay, so before we begin, here's one last shout out to follow our Instagram account at TEDxYouth NP. I repeat, at TEDxYouth NP for amazing deeds for you to check out. And also do check out our amazing website as as well. Link in the description box down below.
Wait, we have a website? Since when did TEDxYouth and MP have a website?
Brani, you're the MC. How can you not know? We had it since the very beginning, and you can find out more about our wonderful speakers, our event organizers, and also details of tonight's event.
Okay, I'm just kidding. Of course, I know that TEDxYouth and MP has their website. Alternatively, you can always scan the QR code below to access this evening's program booklet.
Yes, that's right. And last but not least, we highly encourage everyone here to take down some pointers or tips which resonate with you from all of our wonderful speakers tonight. You guys are really in for a ride. We're going to learn so much together tonight.
Yes, I think it's going to be a growth experience, all of us tonight. We're going to learn a lot.
A lot of insightful things to learn.
Yes, but before that, we will just like to give a warm welcome to all our viewers who are watching this live right now. Hello!
We can see all your comments down below.
Yes, oh my God, we love it. So Caius2 says, damn excited for Josephus Tan. Wow, okay, he read the program booklet,
yes,
he knows.
That's right.
Very good, very good.
And Emilia said how to get goodie bag. Okay, we'll tell you more about it later, so just keep on tuning in. Keep your comments coming in, guys. We love to see all your comments, even though this is a virtual event, Brani and I would still like to engage and communicate with all of you.
Yes.
Who says a virtual event can't be fun?
Exactly, so just keep your comments going and we will definitely interact with you guys.
Yes, that's right.
Right, so we are going to share. Okay, so Tamia, you mentioned just now that even though we are doing an online event, we can still have fun. Yes, because even though we're in the middle of a raging pandemic, we are so grateful that we can still host TEDxYouth and MP online.
Yes.
Right? And I tell you, I'm even more excited, 200% excited.
Does he look excited to you?
Yes, I'm 200% excited.
This is not 200% to me, but it's okay.
Yes,
it's
because
okay.
you know why? We still can interact with you guys in the safety and comfort of your homes and making this a more eventful, inspiring event for all of us.
Yes, fun and safe. What's there not to love, right?
Exactly.
Yes, that's right.
And look at that, we have actually a lot of viewers online tuning in. And
Hi Aisha. Hi Jamin.
Oh my God.
So many. Hi
Jordan,
Olivia.
hello.
Oh my God, I love seeing all the comments coming in.
The goodie bags are so poggers. Yes,
Yes,
poggers.
Such a gaming term.
It's a very gaming term. Yes.
Okay, so keep the comments coming in, guys.
Yes, keep the comments coming in. And just to let out a little secret, we heard from the organizing team that the top 8 viewers who participate actively in the comment section will receive the limited edition TEDxYouth at MP merchandise. I repeat, the top 8 people who actively participate in the chat section will receive limited edition TEDxYouth at MP merchandise. So if you want it, comment actively right now. Spam that keyboard.
Yes, and it's going to be released on our Instagram, so do keep a lookout, do follow our Instagram. There's so many comments coming in, right?
Yes.
I feel the organizing team is going to have a hard time picking the top 8 people.
They're going to have a lot of time.
Really.
But yes, like what Tamia mentioned, follow our Instagram and check out our stories to know if you have won the merchandise.
Yes, that's right. And aside from what Brani has mentioned just now, there's going to be a lot of amazing food vouchers like what we have talked about just now, and even a limited edition TEDxYouth lanyard.
Wow.
So all these exclusive items that you can only get from our goodie bag.
Yes, okay, now suddenly I also want to be part of the comment section. I'm not going to comment.
Oh my God.
Okay. We shouldn't be spilling too much secrets, later the organizing team kick us out and then we cannot host this event anymore.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I'm just going to share a fun fact before that. This year's theme, The Road Less Traveled, was actually inspired by the poem Robert Frost wrote.
Yes, that's right. So we have invited 5 inspirational speakers to share their moving stories, embodying what it means to take an unconventional journey and yet emerge with extraordinary results.
TEDx is a program of local self-organized events that bring people together to experience a TED-like experience.
Yes, that's right. So without further ado, here's a word from our lead organizer and president of the Sandbox Advocates, Lynette.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Lynette, the president of the Sandbox Advocates, NgeeAnnPolytechnic's Innovation and Entrepreneurship Club, as well as the lead organizer for this year's TEDxYouth at NgeeAnnPolytechnic. The current pandemic has brought about many challenges while planning TEDxYouth at MP, but it has been a fulfilling and exciting experience thus far. On behalf of this year's organizing team, we thank you for being there with us this evening. The theme this year is The Road Less Traveled, inspired by the poem The Road Not Taken, written by Robert Frost. 2 roads diverged in the woods, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. The road less traveled insinuates that an uncommon and unconventional choice was made, for example, by choosing an out-of-the-ordinary career. However, despite making a decision that diverges from social norms, be it dropping out of school or starting a business, a path of success still can be carved. The crux of this theme is that although these maverick-like choices are difficult to make, they may eventually lead you to achieve something extraordinary. This evening, we have created 5 amazing speakers, each from distinct backgrounds, and have also taken different paths in their lives. They complement the narrative that making unorthodox choices in life, combined with the numerous challenges, may not necessarily mean the end of one's journey. Tonight, they will be taking the virtual stage to bring you stories of change, perseverance, and success. We hope that tonight inspires you to make the move and take the road less traveled. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Lynette, so much for your wonderful introduction. So now we're moving on to the part all of you are really excited about, which is the speakers. Okay, I can see in all the comments, everyone is really looking forward, especially to our first speaker. Yes, I shall not spoil, but okay, so gambling, drinking, substance abuse. Our first speaker was a former delinquent whose younger self tried almost everything you could possibly imagine, okay? But after a wake-up call, he pulled himself back on his feet despite all the odds stacked against him. All right, so now he is a criminal defense lawyer running his very own law firm, Invictus Law Corporation. Yes?
Yes, very exciting.
Very exciting. Ladies and gents, let us welcome Mr. Josephus Tan.
In Singapore, people call me the gangster lawyer. And amongst the Singaporeans, I'm known by many names, including the long hair lawyer, the lawyer with the tattoos. And there's a reason why. And this is the reason. I grew up in a very rough and a very old neighborhood in Singapore, known as Bukit Merah, within the Red Hill precinct. Back in the days, the older Singaporeans will tell you this wasn't the easiest neighborhood to grow up in. So at a very young age, I wasn't taught to aspire, I wasn't taught to dream, I was taught to survive. And survive I did. I've been failing all my life in school at a very young age, all the way until secondary school or even after that. I started smoking at the age of 12, drinking at the age of 14, and started involving myself with the secret society and got involved in my first fight at the age of 16 after secondary school. So what happened after secondary school was really a period of aimlessness and wantonness, to say the least. I was lost in drugs, in violence, in alcohol. I was filled with rage. And I couldn't pull myself out from that state of despair. And everything after that went downhill. So when I got out from National Service, I did not have the qualifications nor the working experience. And I was 20 years old, going on to 21 years old. I was young, I was brash, Whatever money that I earn today, I will squander it away on drugs, on drinks, making merry with my friends. I didn't think about saving it or investing it, for that matter. So it was really a phase, a phase of teenage rebellion. So after 1 year of working, I did not have enough savings, I was broke, and the biggest problem with my alcoholism is that of rage, Whenever I'm intoxicated, I flew into rage, big rage. And I use violence on people around me, on my friends, on my loved ones. And things got to a very, very bad moment on one night where I remember I got into a fight with a girl, my girlfriend then, and I used violence on her, and to the point I almost threw her off the building. And behind the back of my head, after I'm done with that, I plan to throw myself off the building as well. Because unknown to me then, I was laboring under depression, and I harbored suicidal tendencies. But it was at that critical moment that somebody appeared and pulled the both of us to safety. And when I got up from the floor, this person gave me 2 tight slaps. And subsequently, I passed out. So after a few hours, when I woke up from my drunken stupor, I saw my father seated in the living room. And then the whole house was overturned. The television was on the floor, the sofa was flipped upside down. And I thought then he did all of this because he was angry. But little did I know, I did all of this without remembering any of it. So I walked up to my father, I sat beside him. And I still remember my father asked me this question. Joe, what is hurting you so badly inside your heart? Why are you so angry? And my reply was, I don't know. I just don't know what is hurting so bad, and I don't know what is missing in my life. I can't seem to find my purpose. And thereafter, my dad said this, which changed my life forever. He said, Joe, you have been naughty, rebellious, to the point of being criminal all your formative years. Have you ever wondered what is it like to do something good for yourself, to feel good about it, and be a good person? Give yourself a chance to try the other side of life. After he finished saying that, he got up, he went back to his room, shut the door, and slept. And there I was, thinking about what he said, and telling myself, moments after that, that perhaps it's time for me to embrace what I cannot change, to accept all my past failings, and to restart. After that fateful night, after listening to what my father told me, I got down to thinking seriously for the first time in my life. And the first step I took was to internalize what happened, to embrace all my feelings, all my past, which I cannot change, to forgive myself. And after I did that, I move on to the second stage, which is to come up with a plan. Go back to the basics of life, the fundamentals, such as waking up early every morning at 8 a.m., make my own breakfast, or buy my own breakfast for that matter, read the newspaper, get to know the world around you, because the world is not just about you. So I got back to restarting my life. And thereafter, I went to the third stage, which is to start looking for a job. But then, I do not have the qualifications or the work experience. So all I could find was odd jobs. From renovation works, to moving furnitures, to selling second-hand computers, to the point of even washing the toilet for one of Singapore's biggest law firms then. So one day, I chanced upon an advertisement from a private school that offered a private diploma in law from a foreign university. And there I was, down and out in my life, just restarted. And I thought, maybe this is just my fantasy playing out. Because when everybody is at their lowest, they will always think of something better. It's only natural. And I thought maybe this is just my mind playing tricks on me. So after reading the advertisement, I put it out of my mind for the next 2 to 3 weeks, but it kept coming back. Something in me tells me that I have to do this. So one day, I plucked up the courage and I approached my parents, but then they weren't talking to me. And rightly so, after all that I've done. And I remember during dinner time, I approached my father and asked him, can I go back to school? And then I remember he laughed, followed by my mom. And rightly so, because at that moment, I laughed together with them. I couldn't believe myself, those words coming out from my mouth, that I want to go back to school, because I've been failing school all my life. And there I was, 22 years old, wanting to go back to school, a night school, to study for a private diploma. And so my parents asked me, how much do you need? And I said I needed $8,000 for that course. And coming from a poor family like mine, $8,000 was a stretch. We can't afford it. But what my parents did then really encouraged me. They went to borrow that sum of money from our relatives. And after much persuasion, our relatives loaned us that sum of money to enroll me into the private school. So for 1 year, I was doing the odd jobs during the day, and at night, I was attending the night school to prepare for this diploma. 1 year later, I passed. I did not do well, but I passed after failing all these years. So it was an encouragement. It was a sign that I'm able to achieve if I put my mind to it, if I start. So one thing led to another, and with that diploma in my pocket, I went and asked my parents again, can I do something a bit further than just the diploma? And then my parents asked me, what now? And I said, I want to be a lawyer. And this time around, they burst out laughing. But the difference is that I did not laugh this time. I was serious. I wanted to be a lawyer. And they asked me why. And I said, because I hope to save the world. I hope to help people like myself one day with the knowledge of the law. And this time around, my parents knew that I was not kidding around. But yet, it was very difficult, because then I was only able to enroll in a university overseas with a private diploma. And it cost up to $150,000. So what happened after that? Ran around the island to approach the different banks, and finally, we managed to secure a bank loan to finance my education overseas in the United Kingdom. So I was enrolled in a university in the United Kingdom for a period of 3 years on a bank loan. So I still remember that the day I flew to the United Kingdom, and when I touched down, I opened up my suitcase and I found a packet that was tucked at the side of the luggage. And when I opened it, it was actually my antidepressants medication. So I remember I called my mother straight away to inform her that I've landed safely in the UK and I've checked myself into the hostel. And I asked her, I said, why did you put this packet into my luggage? I'm in a much better shape now, and I have a purpose in life. And I knew my mission was to go to UK, get my law degree, and come back to Singapore and be the lawyer that I want to be. And this was exactly what my mom told me. Said, boy, if things get rough in the UK, take the medication. Don't do anything foolish. Don't get into trouble. Don't kill yourself. Life doesn't stop just because you fail at something. So the medication is a safety net in case you ever do get depressed. And when she said that, tears rolled down my face, and I assured her that I'm on a better track now. I will not take the medication, and I promise her that I'll come back to Singapore in one piece. And that's it. 3 years gone by really quickly, and I managed to actually get a second upper class honors for my law degree. So for the first time in life, I achieved a little bit of something for my academics. I did good. And I flew back to Singapore with that packet of medication and threw it away in Singapore. A promise made, a promise kept. Throughout that 3 years, it was difficult because you learn to be independent, you learn to fend for yourself. And at the same time, against all odds, I succeeded without relying on any medication. I have learned then to take the blows in life, no matter how difficult life was, not to go back to a state of despair, not to rely on anything, but purely on the strength of your heart and your mind. So, as they said, the past is history. I came back to Singapore and started my journey as a criminal defense lawyer. And at the start of my career, I told myself, just like what I told my parents then before I embarked on this journey, that if I ever do become a lawyer, my life's purpose is to help the world, is to help people like me. And that I did. I started my career defending the underprivileged in Singapore. I provide my service pro bono, is a Latin word which means for the public good. So I provide my professional services to the poor for free. I gave them a voice. And that to me is my purpose. And it has been 15 years and counting. And I have never looked back since. Every day to me is a mission. There is no stop line. It is not a job. It is a mission to help, to educate, to raise awareness for the marginalized. So I still remember very clearly that in my second year of practice, I attained a little bit of prominence where a local newspaper did a feature story on me. It was dated the 16th of February 2013. It was on a Saturday. It was during the Chinese New Year period. So that story documented how I turned my life around because my father woke me up to my senses. And now that I've changed my life, I'm using it to further the purpose of helping people. So it was a feature story worth celebrating. But that morning when the story came out, my phone was ringing non-stop with congratulatory messages from my friends and my loved ones. I've yet to read the papers. But then a phone call came from my mother. She was at the hospital. Then my father was very sick. He was diagnosed with multiple cancers. He was lying in the hospital's ICU ward. So my mother called me and said, please rush down. I think your father might not be able to make it today. And I rushed down to the hospital. And when I reached the ICU, I saw a couple of doctors surrounding him, trying to resuscitate him. So we were waiting patiently outside the ward. And after a while, the doctors came out. And I still remember one of the doctors came up to me and asked me this: are you the son that is a lawyer that is featured in the papers today? And I said, yes. And thereafter he said, this morning when we were doing our roundings, we saw the story, so we brought the papers up. We wanted to show your dad, to encourage him to have the will to live. But before that happened, your father went into a state of shock, and we have to resuscitate him. The papers, they are still on the table. Go inside right now, do your part as a son, and read the story to him. And I did that. And I went in, even though he was in a state of coma. I took up the papers and I read up to him about how he changed my life so that I can help other people now. And tears rolled down his face, even though he was in a state of coma. I knew he heard me. And I told him, you must live. You must fight to live. Because today is a day of celebration. And the very next day, unfortunately, he passed away on the 17th of February 2013. Just one day before his birthday. And I remember in the ICU, everybody around me was crying. They were upset, rightly so. But this time round, I wasn't sad. I was angry. Instead of celebrating this moment with my family, I was in the ICU weeping over his death. I was angry. I signed off his death certificate. I collected his body to prepare for the funeral after. And all this happened during the Chinese New Year period. I thought to myself that the funeral will be a very quiet affair because it was during the Chinese New Year period. So the Chinese are very superstitious. They will think that, it is not normal to attend a funeral during the festive occasion. But to my surprise, everybody turned up. People from all walks of life. The powerful, the rich, the commoners, the marginalized. They came out to show their condolences. I was very heartened by those 5 days of the funeral wake. But I was angry. I was angry that the person who changed the course of my life wasn't there to see my achievements. After my father passed away, I was angry and I fell into a state of depression all over again for a period of 6 months. Then I wanted to give up. I was thinking to myself, why am I doing all these things to help other people whereby I can't even help my own family, my father? So I felt a state of despair and helplessness. But after those 6 months, I came to terms with his death, with his demise, and realized that if I stop now, that is the end of his legacy and also mine. So internally, I processed it. And I told myself, the show must go on. I will carry on helping the marginalized in hope that this will honor whatever that he has done for me. And that is what I did. So, but of course, as mentioned earlier, I defended the poor pro bono many a time. So financially, I wasn't the most stable, to say the least. In fact, at one point, a lot of people, they were calling me Singapore's poorest lawyer. So I was paid with flowers, with chocolates, with cookies, or sometimes with fruits, But rarely with money, because of the people that I help. They can't afford it. So on a personal front, my financials took a beating. I went into debt. So at that point, after being a lawyer for some almost 8 years, my debt snowballed. And I own a bank almost close to $100,000 to the stage of bankruptcy. And of course, the nature of my job, the intensity of it, took a toll, not just of my financials, but on my marriage, which broke down. Also on my health. And I fell into a state of medical emergency. I suffered a mild stroke scare. I was admitted into the hospital, and there I was lying on a hospital bed, thinking whether any of this was it truly worth it? And then I was reading this poem, Invictus. It's a Latin word, it means unconquerable. And I found strength in that poem. And I told myself, restart, just like what I did so many years ago. Restart again. So after I came out from the hospital, I was down and out. And I was renting a room, not very far from the courts. I do not know what to do, but I know I have to start. I have to take a baby step. So I plucked up the courage. I borrowed a sum of money from some very good friends to start my own practice, Invictus Law Corporation. Not to be undefeated in the courtroom, but to be undefeated in the human spirit. So it has been 4 years now, and I persisted. From a team of 4, we grew to a team of 12. From one small little office, we grew to 7 offices. I have managed to pay off all my debts. I managed to prevent myself from bankruptcy. As such, I'm able to carry on lawyering. So when I think back about this part of my life, all the struggles and all the tribulations that I went through, it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy at all. But the only lesson that I took away from all of this is that I didn't give up. I didn't. People will mostly not remember how the story begins, but people will always remember how the story concludes. And in the same vein, you cannot choose how your life begins, but you can definitely choose how your life will end. So, embrace your feelings. Accept your past, which you cannot change. And as the saying goes, a ship in harbor is always safe, but that is not what a ship is built for. It may well be a road less traveled, but as long as you take the baby steps to rediscover yourself, to restart, and to recover, the future will always be bright. And this is the story of Singapore's gangster lawyer.
Thank you, Mr. Tan, for sharing with us your inspiring story. You know, after reading all the comments, people really showing their respect, and I myself, I feel like Mr. Josephus Tan is filled with so much strength. And even though you weren't dealt with the best cards in life, you are still able to carve out your own unique path and dedicate your life to helping others, which is very, very admirable.
Yes, admirable indeed. When life constantly throws challenges at you, you may feel hopeless. You might feel like it's the end of the world. And even though we can't promise that things will improve, we can promise that you'll come out a stronger person at the end, just like Mr. Josephus Tan.
Yes,
once again, thank you, Mr. Tan.
Thank you.
Up next, we have Mr. David Ho, a true representation of an academic rags to riches story where he worked his way as a heartland rebel student with a PSLE score of 110 to becoming a role models teacher who inspires youth to dream beyond their boundaries.
Yes, and he didn't have the best childhood growing up. So what do I mean by that? Imagine you're at a hawker center eating your food and suddenly a 7-year-old child walks up to you with tissue papers in his hand and accompanied by his blind mother. You know, that was his reality. So, you know, I won't spoil it any further for all of you. We will hear it from the man himself. Let's give it up for Mr. Ho to share his life journey with us.
Hi everyone, my name is David and it's an honor to join the rest of the speakers to share with you our life journey. For this sharing, I will share with you my story in 3 parts. The first part, I call it the discovery. When I was much younger, about primary 1, I remember my teacher asked us to draw, what do you want to be when you grow older? My friends around me, they drew they wanted to be fireman, doctor, policeman, lawyer, whatever you can think of. When it came to me, I drew this. I wanted to be a chicken rice store uncle when I grew older. But when my teacher walked past me, she gave me that look. Nowhere in our art syllabus have we ever taught you to be a chicken rice stall uncle. Now, allow me to share with you how this aspiration came about. When I was younger, my parents were separated. Because of that, I stayed with my mom. My mom went through a failed cataract eye operation. Because of that, she then became blind. We live in a rental flat. To make ends meet, I have to go out with her to sell tissue paper, tidbits and all. I don't know about you, but a plate of chicken rice at then cost about $2 or $2.50. Now, I live in a rental flat and there was no aircon. My substitute for aircon was to bring my mom to the NTUC, put my head into the freezer. That was my substitute. And one day, I remember putting my head into the freezer and I saw frozen chicken. And I looked at the price tag. Frozen chicken was about $4 or $5. And then I thought to myself, actually, the chicken rice stall uncle make a lot of money. If you think about it, one full chicken costs you about $4 or $5, right? He gives you a few slices of meat and a portion of rice. That cost price, probably just maybe 50 cents. And he sells me for $2.50. And if he sells many plates a day, he actually makes a lot of money. Though he looks genuinely quite poor maybe, but he actually is very rich. So that was when, in primary school, I said, hey, I want to be a chicken rice stall uncle. Really, that was my plan to get rich. Now, remember I said earlier, my mom became blind. So because of that, she couldn't really help me with my academics. As a result of that, my PSLE score, 110. Getting 110 could only mean that there was only one stream I could go to in Singapore at then, which is the normal technical stream. I don't know about you, but for me, in the normal technical classroom, no one really pays attention in class. All I can remember, the teacher will come in, will just tell us off, then after that, just teach a little bit, then leave for the next lesson. We genuinely just make teachers really very angry. But one thing I do remember about secondary school is CCA, and I love CCAs, because in CCA, you get to meet people from different classes, different streams. And usually before school start, before lesson start we would hang out in the school canteen. So one day, a friend of mine from the express stream, from my CCA, challenged me. Said, hey David, why not you pay attention in class? See, I was young and egoistic, so I cannot say no, right? So I said, fine, challenge accepted. How hard is it to pay attention in class, right? So the next lesson was math. And the first formula I ever understood in my life was this. Pi r square. Well, pi looked a little bit interesting, and it kind of caught my attention. But during that lesson, I realized, David, you're not that stupid after all, right? Because I realized within every word problem, there will always be just one number. And if I could throw the number into the right formula, or your teacher will call it substitute, I put that number into that formula, and I flipped to the end of the textbook, and I realized, hey, I got the right answer. So I did that for a few times. Then I realized, David, you can kind of do math. And I did it again and again and again and again for the next few lessons and as it goes. Towards the end of the year, my friends asked me from a normal tech class, they say, hey David, can you teach us math? I said, can, very simple. Now just find the right formula, you throw the right number into it. I can't promise you 100% you'll get it right, but maybe 70% you'll get it right. As my friends did that, then they all got their right answers. And I felt a sense of accomplishment, and I realized, I really enjoyed teaching people. So that was when I said, okay, career switch. I don't want to be a chicken rice stall uncle anymore. Now, I want to be a teacher. But actually, there was still a backstory to it. Because I thought to myself, well, I thought my teacher came to school at 7 a.m. and when I finished school at 1 p.m., my teacher was also from 7 to 1 and makes quite a lot of money. I didn't know they had to do CCA or committee work. So at that point of time, I said, actually, I think this is a better get-rich plan because I don't have to perspire like the chicken rice stall uncle. I just need to teach for a few hours every day, and yeah, and I can become a teacher. So what am I trying to say at this point? Well, you see, me discovering becoming a chicken rice stall uncle or be a teacher was never because one day I was walking on the street, suddenly I had an aspiration. It was a function of what I saw and what I tried. I saw the chicken rice uncle, then that was where I said, I wouldn't mind being him. I had an experience, an opportunity to teach my friends, and I realized I enjoyed it. And that was how my aspirations came to be. Part 2, the long journey. So how do you become a teacher? I went to www.yahoo.com.sg and I typed, how to be a teacher in Singapore. And it brought me to this pretty amazing website known as the Ministry of Education website. Now, so this was what I saw. And I looked at the options there and I told myself, as a normal tech student, hey, I can get a polytechnic diploma. All I just need to do, finish my 4 years of N-levels, 4 years of secondary school education, 4 years of ITE, then after that, go to poly. So I clicked on Polytechnic Diploma, and it goes like that. If you have a passion for teaching, yep, I pretty much enjoy teaching my friends. Strong personal attributes and values, well, I might be a rascal in school, but I don't kill, I don't steal, I don't destroy. So overall, generally still a good guy. Next, a Polytechnic Diploma. Well, that is quite possible. And then it read, and at least 5 O-level passes. The moment I saw these words, 3 words came into my mind. 笑了啦. Simply because as a normal tech student, you would never be able to do O-levels. And what does this mean? It means that I will never be able to realize my aspiration of becoming a teacher. I then spoke to my teacher about it, and my teacher told me, David, it is possible. If at Sec 4 in your N-levels, you can get grade 1 for all the subjects, you can move to Sec 5 normal academic. But no one in Singapore has ever done that before. But my teacher believed in my aspirations. I still remember in secondary 4, one day I submitted to her this composition, and the next day we sat down in this classroom. She returned to me my composition, and it was filled with red. Both of us broke down in tears. I cried because I didn't know how to help myself. I think she cried, she also didn't know how to help me. But she never gave up on me. I had a mentor, at the same time also believed in my aspiration of becoming a teacher. She would ask her friends to mark my composition for me and gave me feedback. I also remember at secondary 4, she brought me a primary 6 grammar book because grammar was really one of my weakest points in English. And because of that, I practiced as hard as I could. Fast forward 2004, on the day of my results, I received a call from my school. Say, David, you're a national top student. I was like, huh? What's national top student? Never mind, just go to school early. But during my trip to school, I was filled with anticipation. I thought, hey, finally, I am going to be able to go to Sec 5 normal academic. I reached school, I opened my results slip. 1, 1, 1. The subjects that were needed to get grade 1, I got grade 1, except one particular subject, I got grade 2. Want to guess what that is? Well, not math. That was English. My whole world came crashing down. I was so close to going to Sec 5 normal academic, but I couldn't. I still remember, after collecting my results, I went to my principal. I told my principal I really wanted to do Sec 5 normal academic, and he was the one that suggested. He said, David, why not you try writing to the Minister of Education? So I did. Dear Minister of Education, Minister Taman then, I really want to do O-levels. Full stop. Can you give me a chance? Fast forward, said yes. I repeated secondary school 2 more years. Instead of going to ITE, I did Sec 3 Express, Sec 4 Express. Fast forward, as a result of that, in 2015, I managed to graduate from National University of Singapore with a degree in economics. And finally, able to realize my aspiration of becoming a teacher. You see, beyond the academic support that everyone has given me, I also want to say how grateful I am to my mentor. I still remember, when I was secondary 4, I didn't have a lot of money. And one day, she passed me this $50. Miss Priscilla. And I asked, when must I return this money to you? He said, David, you pay it forward. My point of this second part of this story is this. It's a long journey. I realized my aspirations really not because of my efforts alone. Many people have helped me along the way. My teacher stayed back after school. My mentor went the extra mile. My principal gave me the idea. Only because of all of them, that's why I'm where I am today. So for all of you, in time to come, you will realize your aspirations. But remember, it is not by your effort alone. Many other people made it possible. And on the day that you realize your aspiration, I just want to remind us to be grateful and to always pay it forward. Part 3, paying it forward. You see, as a normal technical student, I never really found the drive or motivation to study. But it was because of my discovery of this aspiration to become a teacher, I finally found a reason. Studying was really a means to an end so that I could become a teacher when I grow older. You see, growing up, I had opportunities to discover my aspirations because I had a chance to teach my friends. And as a result of that, I asked myself, how could I create such opportunities for others? As a result of it, I started this program known as I'm Talented. I'm Talented seeks to create opportunities for students to discover their talents in non-academic pathways. For example, songwriting, photography, fashion design, coding, robotics, and the list goes on. The goal is really simple. I want to help every single child to figure out what you really enjoy. And after you know what you enjoy, then where can you go to further pursue it? Is it an ITE? Is it in poly? Or other post-secondary institution? Then how do you get there? Because once you know how to get there, then maybe studying is not the end of itself. It's just a means to an end. In my journey to realize my aspiration of becoming a teacher, I never said no to opportunities. And I always tried on different new experiences, such as taking on internships. During this entire journey, I come to realize that what truly energized me was that to be able to help others to articulate their aspirations and enable them to realize it. And being a teacher is just one of the many ways. So to all those of you who are listening, thank you for your patience. I want to encourage you to keep discovering, pursue your aspirations relentlessly, and keep paying it forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ho, for your inspirational story on pure grit and perseverance. Despite the circumstances, you have shown that ultimately what decides the outcome is how you choose to deal with the situation. I think, after when I was listening to his speech, he really showed that, even if you don't have such a rich educational background when you were first starting out as a student, it doesn't determine how your future will end up, He took a different path. He really explored the options out there, and he really found his own stance, his place in this war. And I think that's what's really inspirational about, we all might have, rocky starts, but that does not determine where we end up.
Yes, that's right. And one of my favorite quotes has got to be paid forward. We really hope that one day all of you watching this will reach the success you are seeking and pay it forward by inspiring others who were once in your shoes as well. Just like how Mr. Ho has made an impact on all of us tonight. And I just want to say that I would really love to have Mr. Ho as my teacher.
Yes, Mr. Ho is a very chill, and I think what makes
I love
him
his character.
His character is very interesting. I think what will make him a great teacher, or why I want him as my teacher, is that he's very relatable.
Yes.
I think teachers who have been through struggles can understand the struggles of students.
Definitely.
I think that what makes a good teacher, when you can empathize with them.
Yes,
Yeah.
and we would feel a lot better as students as well. Yeah, so once again, thank you so much, Mr. Ho, for your inspiring story. Okay, so next up, I would like to introduce our third speaker, Ms. Japnit, a female tech advocate who believes in breaking societal norms and inspiring others to do the same. Okay, so since young, she had a strong innate passion for programming, and societal norms pressured her against it, so she was unable to pursue her dreams, and in this instance, it was because of her gender.
Yes, so today we're excited and very much honored to have Ms. Jupnet walk us through her motivational journey of going against the expectations of others and how we can all break through the perception others have of us to find a path that's true to us and not to others. So without further ado, Ms. Jupnet, please.
Welcome to the 21st century, an era beyond the wildest dreams of even our most recent ancestors. The age of the computers. And the architects of this age? Computer scientists. But what do these architects look like? Who are they? We all know what to do when we have a question, right? We Google it. So type computer scientist in the search bar and let's see where it takes us. If these results took you by surprise, type yes in the comment section. As expected, we are accustomed to seeing the 21st century architects being mostly men. The million-dollar question to ask here is why? Why is there such a gender disparity in the tech industry? Do girls just not code? These questions might seem irrelevant to you, but trust me, while uncovering the answers to these questions, we will discover a larger theme, so stick with me. Before diving into these whys, let me introduce myself. Hi, I'm Japnit, a computer scientist, a girl, and most importantly, someone who has chosen the road not taken. With the astounding number of tech graduates and computer scientists, tech is a road not taken for me merely because of social conventions, specifically my gender. This journey of tearing societal labels has not been easy, but it's never easy. It has been fulfilling though. Let's just go to the very beginning. I was only 13 when my school's computer club Minette recruited me. An incredibly amazing opportunity at that time. I was overjoyed that my programming skills were being recognized by a school's computer club. But soon I discovered that they only recruited me because they wanted a female programmer to make their all-male cadet look more inclusive and diverse. This knowledge made everything very hard and uncomfortable for me. I did not feel like I belonged. I didn't think my voice would be heard or appreciated. So I kept quiet because of the fear of being ignored. Was this a fair way to feel? I had cleared all the interviews, the programming challenges, and I had really earned my place there. Deep down, I did recognize this. But just knowing that I was recruited because of one criterion fulfilled, my gender, made me feel like I did not belong. The computer club was a sea of opportunity that I could not dive into because of so many reasons that these male members would never understand. Whenever they asked me to take part in a competition, I backed out because I lived in a city not safe for women. So I wasn't allowed to travel alone. Thus, I could not commit to events without school transportation. There were so many club night outs, 2-day hackathons, and events till the evening, which I could not attend. And the few events that I did attend, I felt completely out of place, almost as if it was expected of me to fail. Soon, I was reduced to a member in name only. It would have been so much better if there were more female programmers around me. I would have felt like I belonged, I would have taken more charge and participated more and not had this ever-present imposter syndrome around me. So I decided to change the gender ratio and started a recruitment drive focusing on girls. 7 guys and 5 girls signed up. I was ecstatic. After 3 months of training, I would have all of these amazing female peers around me. So 3 months passed and I was still the only girl in the club, but the gender ratio had just worsened because all of the 7 boys got recruited, but none of the 5 girls did. I was so confused, like, why did this happen? So I took it upon myself to go to each and every girl and ask why. And their first response was that coding is intimidating, which I understood, and if you have had any experience with programming, you will wholeheartedly agree. It keeps changing, there's so much to learn, and those hours and hours of looking for that bug that you cannot find. So naturally, my next question was, why didn't you ask for help? There were senior guys who were there to just help you. The girls said that they did not feel comfortable asking. They did not think they could ask them. And that their questions were dumb and stupid. A feeling I'm sure that's not foreign to you or me. So in the end, with the same training period, the same resources, and the same guys helping them out, 7 boys got recruited because they felt comfortable asking questions, while all the 5 girls did not. Defeated, I took a back seat, kept my head down, accepted the status quo, and honed my skills as much as I could. A few months later, a casual application led to my selection to study in Singapore on a scholarship from the Ministry of Education. While debating whether to go or not to go, one thing was sure. I could not leave Minette with a 1:0 gender ratio again. So I was sure and I decided that I'm going to host this one workshop for the girls in my school to change that. It would have female mentors who will be approachable and guide the students through. The idea sounded very shiny and exciting. The implementation, not so much. There were so many challenges that I had to overcome to get the ship off the ground. The insidious and pervasive nature of biases was never more apparent when trying to rouse participation for this workshop. The plan was to get around 25 to 30 girls to participate in a 2-day Python bootcamp. Everywhere I went to announce the workshop, multiple hands shot up. I was so excited that the idea was reaching actualization, only to realize that the guys were clamoring to participate, whereas the girls were hesitating. It is incredibly important to pay attention to this incident. Why was this one group so excited to participate while the other was so hesitant? Both the groups had no prior knowledge. They had no set knowledge about the field of computer science, yet the response was divided along gender lines. Days passed without a sign-up. I was so tempted to give up, but decided to give it like one last speech in the morning assembly. And surprisingly, it worked. That day I discovered a secret, that all these girls who were approaching me in the foyer to register, all that they needed was a nudge from like a role model who looked like them. This made me realize that we're stuck in a vicious cycle where seeing less representation of your group in a field reduces your inclination to go into that field. Over the course of this boot camp, these incredibly hesitant girls blossomed into fearless, unafraid coders ready to break any barriers. In fact, 2 of them went on to join the school's computer club. Can you imagine? A week ago, these girls were not even sure about attending a computer science workshop. Clearly, it is not about the skill or the propensity for the field that deters people, but it is a systematic lack of belief and confidence that it's even a viable field for them. After realizing the complexity and the gravity of the situation, I realized that this problem is widespread in Delhi. So, what happened next? The Girl Code was born, a non-profit to share my love for coding with other girls for free. Such an exciting initiative combining my 2 passions, feminism and technology. However, it was time for me to leave now. I was so unsure about leaving everything I knew, my family, my friends, and this newfound passion project. While my parents shielded me from the backlash from my relatives and she will get out of her hands and who will take care of a 16-year-old girl in a new country, I decided that it would be best for my professional aspirations to go. So I said my goodbyes, established a team in India to handle my non-profit, and headed for National Junior College. Even after moving countries, I was working according to the Indian Standard Time, coordinating with my team back home at ungodly hours. 2 a.m. meetings with 7 a.m. school in the first month of moving did not go well. I was still adjusting to my new environment and introduced to this concept of A-levels, economics, PW and GP. Everything was very overwhelming. And I was surprised to learn that the internal biases and the ratio of girls in tech in a third world country like India existed in a first world country like Singapore too. In fact, in esteemed institutions like NUS, the ratio was 3:1. So I wanted to spread the girl code here as well. But I was only a 16-year-old girl trying to prove her mettle in a foreign land. I had no network, I had no leads, so I started cold emailing and faced relentless rejection. Singapore was like a whole new safe world for me where I could travel anywhere I wanted to, but I had nowhere to go. And this made me question everything. Why did I leave my known to venture into the unknown? Why couldn't I have just been a girl in tech in my old school? But would that be enough for me? I mean, it would be a challenging journey on its own way, like it was. And if I never had the fear of leaving my school's computer club without any girls, my passion project, the Girl Code, would have never existed. This is when I realized that the grass always seems greener on the other side, but it's actually greener where you water it. So I started involving my classmates from National Junior College in the Girl Code. I had a TM, and now all I needed was a workshop. And my efforts of cold emailing finally paid off when I received a message from an interested student at NUS. I was supposed to meet her at Starbucks the next day. And I would like you all to take 1 second to put yourself in my shoes. So I just came to a new country. I was already trying to adjust to everything, and I was trying to spread my initiative here. And the most important thing that I felt that if I made a mistake, I actually believe that if I made a mistake, I would be deported back to India. So I was supposed to meet this girl at the Starbucks at Crown Plaza, and I had a 1 hour break between my classes. So according to my amazing calculations, it would take me 10 minutes from NJC to Tankaki, and then 5 minutes more to Crown Plaza. The meeting would last 30 minutes, and I'll be back in 15 minutes. Perfect 1 hour, right? Like, nothing could go wrong. Well, it did. Actually, everything went wrong. The meeting ran late. My class was cancelled because of an impromptu fire drill where my whole section was standing because I was missing. And I'm not a fast runner. You do the math. But it was worth it. We secured a workshop at the National University of Singapore in August 2018, and this was the highlight of my journey. TGC was officially global. Over the course of the last 3 years, the Girl Code has grown from a concept to an organization making tangible impact. We have 90 volunteers situated worldwide and chapters in 3 countries. We have taught over 2,000 girls the basics of HTML, CSS, and Python. Even the pandemic did not stop the learning. We shifted our in-person workshops to online courses which were mobile-friendly and taught in native languages. This way, we could empower even the most remotest rural communities in India. While this may seem trivial to you and me, an English-speaking population with the privilege of having laptops whenever we need them, hosting workshops that only required smartphone to attend in native languages made it possible for us to impact the underprivileged communities in India by making a very tangible idea of technology very real to them. We're also proud to lay collaborations with other NGOs that work for teaching underprivileged children like Saksham Center. The proudest moment for me personally was when we hosted a workshop with the Tara community, which shelters sexually abused girls. TGC's impact was felt when these 5 girls from the Tara community were so enthralled by programming and were so excited to ask questions and know more. It has taken 18 missed school competitions, a move 2,580 miles from home, and 150 unanswered cold emails to get me where I am today. And the most important thing that I've learned in the duration of my journey is that each road will come with its unique set of problems. But if you keep moving forward, despite the occasional tripping, the small rocks, and the twists and turns in the path, you will get somewhere. The irony lies in the fact that what puts you down is also what propels you forward. Let me repeat that. What puts you down is also what propels you forward. The gender diversity issue that I work day and night very hard to solve is also the reason why I push myself so much. It is why I strive so hard. The Girl Code has taught 2,000 girls. That's 666 girls per year. 666. It's a mind-boggling number to be confronted with, but it perfectly illustrates the impact you are capable of making. If you want to go into the field where there's no one who looks like you, be that one person to inspire others. If others don't understand the unique struggles you face in a certain field, explain it to them. Tell them where you're coming from, not for your own sake, but even for the future generations. If you're receiving a lot of backlash from your loved ones, the people you expected to support you, filter it out. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you take the road not taken or the road already taken. It's all about taking the road you want to take. Because when you face issues and problems on these roads, and trust me, you will, and there will be a lot of reasons to quit, only your passion, resilience, and the love for your work will get you through. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Japnit, for sharing with us your incredibly brave journey of going against societal labels to pursue a life true to yourself. It must have taken a lot of courage and passion to not only come to a completely foreign environment like Singapore to pursue your dreams, but to also build a heartwarming initiative while you were still studying in JC. And you know, we know that JC is not easy to be able to cope with everything. That's really, really amazing. Yes, and thank you so much, really, for being the change that you want to see.
And I think also what's very commendable is that she started this change at a very young age, and she really understood the struggles, and she really wanted to make sure that other girls do not face the same issue.
Yes.
She used her platform, she really utilized what she knew, and she really tried to engage with the community. And I think that's what change is all about. She really went down her own unique path. She faced challenges, but being as a woman, a girl, she had challenges, but she overcame them and she found her path, and she's making a difference.
Yes.
So I think that's the beauty of it. Overcome challenges and you can make a change. So, and there's one specific part in her speech that really, really resonated with me, is when she said this one line. It's not about the road not taken or the road already taken. It's about the road you want to take. And I think that especially resonated with me because, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you go down a very popular path or you go down a very niche specific path. So long as you're happy with the path you're taking, you're proud, you're confident, you're satisfied with it, I think that's all that matters, right?
Yeah, you know what they always say, like, the choices you make is what makes you the person you are.
Correct.
Yeah, so it's really, just go for it. Just be brave, push through to whatever decisions that you want.
And she also said this one line, what puts you down is also what propels you forward. So your challenges, your obstacles, they also kind of shape you in some way. They make you a stronger person. So thank you, Ms. Japnit, for sharing that with us. We really learned a lot. Girl boss.
Yes.
Thank you, Ms. Japnit.
Yeah.
Now let us introduce our fourth speaker for tonight, Mr. Toh Wei Soong. Diagnosed with a spinal cord inflammation, he was wheelchair-bound ever since he was 2 years old. This meant that he could not walk and do sports like other children. But as part of rehabilitation, he took up swimming. Like you can already guess, this became his passion and he fell in love with the sports.
Yes.
And like they say, the rest is history.
Yes, indeed. So to fill you guys in, besides clinching 2 gold medals at the 2018 Asian Paralympic Games, which is already very amazing.
Very amazing, yes.
Also set a national record in the recent 2021 Paralympic Games in the men's 50-meter butterfly. Amazing, right?
It's amazing. And all I can do is float in a swimming pool.
Why are you dissing yourself, Brani?
True.
Okay, but behind his successes are years of pain and struggle. And tonight, we are more than honored to have Mr. Toh share with us what it means to turn your struggle into something motivational.
Mr. Toh, please.
Suffering is a natural part of life. It's not something that we can avoid nor escape while living through it. Eventually, it comes to each of us in different ways at different times. And if we're not careful, it can threaten to crush us. It threatens to stop us from doing what's important to us. It can make the world seem very small and our own lives very limited in their agency. Suffering is, in a few words, difficult to handle. It has the power to bring us to our knees, to cause us despair. And if we're not careful, we can submit to suffering and become insular about ourselves, seeking comfort by self-destruction, by shunning away those who would give us comfort and love. And I know this because I have suffered a fair deal in my life. While I won't say that I've suffered the most out of anybody, in attempting to chase a Paralympic dream or juggling the stresses of an education, it was very difficult at times to find reasons to look forward to the next day. And at times, it seems like I was not getting anywhere. both physically or academically, and that this suffering was for nothing. Why was I putting in over 20 hours a week to swim and train? Why was I trying to balance my assignments and exams, which never seemed to end? These questions came up again and again, and at times I had no strength to answer them. I could not even bring myself to say I train because my dream is to become a Paralympian, or I study so that I can have a career doing what I love, because those answers seemed so far away. I was in pure survival mode, and even if these things were true, saying them would not take away the suffering. It wouldn't make things better. The suffering was too much. The despair was too much. It was difficult to get out of bed every day. It was difficult to go for training and to give everything I had for each session. And it was a struggle because there were so many things on my mind, so many stresses which pulled me in all directions. How will I perform at my next swimming competition? How well will I do for my exams? I have homework on Monday. Perhaps I should miss training today. This is the kind of thought process I went through. But I have a major competition in 2 months, so I can't afford to take off time. So I'm stuck. And eventually the stress got to me. And it was altogether a difficult time. And although several years later I'm in a better place, that experience has not left me yet. Because it's an experience that's continuously ongoing. I have to face it every day. I will likely have to continue to do so long as I wish to study and swim at the same time. But I'm happy to say that I've survived. I found a way out of it. But it wasn't through sheer force of will, nor through some miraculous change. It was the small things I started doing every day, which helped me to affirm what was important in my life and what I want to do. And from these small things, I eventually was able to take back control and agency, and to avoid this sense of fatalism that I had led myself to believe was true. And the first of these small things was a question. The question of what I want to do with my life, and more importantly, what I want to do today. Suffering does not need to be a negative thing. Yes, it's natural, and yes, it can bring you to your knees, but it can also bring you closer to your goals. It can bring you to heights you never realized you could reach, or triumphs you never knew you were capable of. To me, the question is hence how to make the best use of suffering for your own benefit. How do we suffer rightly? And the question to me was to affirm what I wanted in my life. What do I want to do today? What do I want to achieve tomorrow? What is my goal? What is my desire? What is my passion? Because stress can confuse us. It can distort what we want and make us lose sight of ourselves, the hustle and bustle of every day. An assignment by the end of this week, a reading by the next, an exam next month, a competition 1 week afterwards. It becomes a spur-of-the-moment fight-or-flight thing every day. And sometimes you just don't want to fight anymore. It becomes pure desperation and pure flight. But when I ask myself, what do I want to do? It's like a reset. Every morning I ask myself, what do you want to do? And every evening I ask myself the same question. And these questions reaffirm my goals every day. Because I'll never be lost, because once I wake up, before I go to sleep, I know what's important to me. For the rest of the day, for the next day afterwards, I'm unshakable, because I know where I'm headed. Whatever the course of the week brought, I understood the critical path to get through it. I understood what I needed to do with my life, what was important to me, and as long as I knew that, I was able to continuously orientate myself within this maze of everyday things and stresses. So things made sense again. The future was no longer the end of the next assignment, but instead it stretched onwards towards the end of my life. I was free. And it came from a single question. What do you want to do? Affirmed at the start of every day and every night. If you know what you want to do, you cannot be lost. If you know what you want to do, you will find a way back to it, to what's important. It's like a compass by which you can always head back north. And that was a small thing which led to other small things, like sleeping earlier, doing my work earlier, eating better, becoming more relaxed and more confident with myself. And with the support of my family, my coaches and my teachers, I was eventually able to escape that dark time in my life. And I'm proud to say that I've escaped it, and that that's what I've accomplished. Because I can say, you have not conquered me, and I have survived you. And I took all that suffering you gave me and I made it work. I suffered and I still made it through. And you beat me down and I got back up. I moved forward and I took that pain and I made it into something positive. It made me stronger. And I am stronger. I made it to the Paralympic Games. I competed against the best in the world and held my own. And you cannot take that away from me. The suffering cannot tear me down. Because I've done it. And I did it through suffering by coming out the other side. Exhausted and hardened, but alive and happier because I went the distance. I proved it to myself. And I used my suffering to get closer to my goals. Or in other words, I can now say that I train because I've seen the light at the end of the tunnel. I train because every session brings me closer to success. And success I've chosen for myself. Success I've chosen in which no one else can take from me. And the success is my life. And no one can take my life away from me. Now, not everybody can take the same amount of suffering, and neither should they. Not everybody can suffer and come out of it in a positive way equally. But there is hope. There is hope because your future really is in your hands. There is hope because you really do have agency over your own life. There is hope because there really is a pathway forward. Because you are already it. You are already it. You are already that pathway forward. So you only have to ask yourself a simple question. What do you want to do? What do you want to do today? What do you want to do tomorrow? What about next week? Next month? If you can answer these questions, you are already it. The path is clear. From there we can take it one step at a time. One day at a time. From there we can start the small things which will eventually lead us out of that darkness and into a place where suffering has not conquered us, but instead has been used to bring us to someplace higher. And it will take a lot of work. But at least now we know where we are going. We know that the work we're doing is meaningful. It's our own work. And it's bringing us closer to where we want to be. And if we know where we are going, we will never be shaken and never be lost. But once again, it's easy to say such things. The truth is that we have to live with this. We have to live with the reality of the work itself. And the work is hard. You can ask yourself, what do you want to do today? But the fact is that you actually have to do it today. You actually have to get out of bed and fight off those bad feelings, those bad thoughts, and try to do something with your time. So take it in small steps. Set the ground for success. Do the small things because they will help you to live. Sleep earlier, set up a routine, help yourself out. And do these things not because you've been told to do them, but because they will bring you closer to your own goals. Because these are things that will bring you to the place you want to be and to be the person you want to be. Suffer for yourself instead of for things which will destroy your life. During my Paralympic journey, there were stumbles and there were falls. There were ups and there were a lot of downs throughout the process. But we came out of the process and we made it work through each day. It required waking up at 5 every morning, training for 2 hours and then going to school by 8. It required finishing school at 3 and then training for 2 hours at 4 till 6. And it took eating dinner at 7 and starting work at 8, sleeping again by 10 every day. And this was my routine in high school for years. And I didn't make it a lot of times. I failed to live up to it. It was during this time that I really saw no hope of things getting better But things eventually did get better. The light was showing through the darkness. And eventually, by weathering through it, and by suffering, and thus living for myself, I was able to come out of it. I was able to be in a much better position to fight and to make it through the tough times. So take it easy on yourself. And once again, be kind to yourself, because it is going to be tough. But know that you are suffering because you believe in yourself. Know that you suffer because you have chosen to suffer. That you have taken control over your own life. You are in control. You will not go lost. And this is because you can always ask the question, what do I want to do in my life? And find your way back. So this is the mindset I want to share with you. This is the mindset of self-agency, of self-belief that I've learned from my time as a Paralympic athlete, in my time training up to the Paralympics. That once you're able to answer the question, what do I want to do? And once you've done the work, trust in yourself and just take the next step and do it, or let it go. When you need to do the work, just race. When you need to get it done, just race. Simple as that. Just race. Say it to yourself. Or find a phrase like it. Find something that works for you, by which you can condense everything you wish to achieve in this world into that one phrase. Just race. This is the same phrase I use every time I'm behind the start blocks of a pool. Every time I have self-doubts, whether it be in the pool or the examination hall. Just race. Trust in the work. Trust in the suffering, because you have suffered. But that means you've put in the work, and you've done a good job. So now go out there and enjoy yourself. And whatever comes, don't worry about it. You've done your best. You've gone the distance. You've made it through, and that itself is a success. But the only way you're going to get out of it is by racing through, by putting in your heart, by simply doing the work. And one day, all of those small things are going to come together. Once you know you're already it, things will get better, because there's no way you can fail. And you'll be able to be proud of what you've done and what you've managed to do, because everything you've done has been within your control. That as much as possible, all that suffering has been suffering of your own decision, and thus your choice. It has led you to places you've never been before, as in my case, to the Paralympic Games in Tokyo. This is the art of suffering. Or the road less traveled, or the road more harder to cross. So ask yourself, what do you want to do? And just race and do it. Suffering doesn't have to be negative. Suffering is part of life itself. But suffering does not need to be the end of your life. Perhaps it can be the beginning too. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Toh, for sharing with us your inspiring journey of using pain and struggle as fuel to bring out the very best in yourself. Especially since all of us are dealing with our own unique set of challenges in life, your message about being kind to ourselves and fighting our inner demons is ever so prevalent and applicable to every one of us here tonight. And I think I'll just like to point out a specific comment that really caught my attention in the comment section on YouTube. Matilda commented this: I really like that his opinions are unbiased. Pain is often an understated catalyst for call to action. I think that's a very strong quote, you know. People always think that, you know, we should dismiss pain. We should not use it at all. We should always keep it aside. But I think what Mr. Toh brought up was that, you know, it's not a bad thing. You know, we can use it to our advantage and go further if we use it in the right way. It's a weapon.
Race it through, like what he said.
That was his phrase, you know, we
Race it through. That's right. And another phrase that I really liked from his speech was, you live for yourself, you know. So really when life throws obstacles our way, it's okay to take a moment to recover, heal, and just come back stronger at the end of the day, because we're not defined by our own failures, but rather how we choose to bounce back from those setbacks. So once again, thank you so much, Mr. Toh, for sharing with us what it means to turn pain and suffering into a form of motivation. So much wisdom that we have gotten from you.
Yes, I think I really needed to hear that from him.
We felt really motivated listening. All right, okay, last but not least, we have our fifth speaker for tonight, TEDx Youth event, and he is none other than Dru Chen. Okay, so since young, this speaker was not the best at making friends or opening up to others easily. And as a defense mechanism of not being able to fit in, he confided in music as an escape from reality.
Indeed, yes. He was strongly determined to make his impact as a music producer, writer, and performer. So we have today with us Mr. Dru Chen, and he is actually a local musician who learned how to express himself in ways he could never dream of. Today he seeks to lift up youths who were once in his position of self-doubt and find happiness in guiding future generations to a life of fulfillment and happiness. Without further ado, Mr. Chen, please.
Dear students, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, she, her, he, him, they, them, and every single person in between. Welcome to my road less traveled. I was born Andrew, or affectionately Atu, a small Chinese boy in 1990, in the largely white suburb of Eltham in Melbourne, Australia. My parents wanted me to learn Cantonese, so they only spoke to me in my mother tongue until I was old enough to go to kindergarten. I remember not having a single clue as to what everyone was saying the first couple of weeks at school. As the odd one out, I found my natural comfort in music. I still remember that time my mom took me to a kids' keyboard class when I was 5, and I sat along with 20 other 5-year-olds. If I was able to go back in time and relive any moment of my life, it would be the first time I laid my tiny hands on a keyboard. It felt as natural as breathing, and within minutes, I had finished the entire music book in front of me. A few years went by, and one day, Dad came home from work and said we were going to move to Singapore. He had been relocated for work, just when I was starting to fit in at school. My parents pointed at a tiny little dot on the world map, underneath what looked like a giant crocodile's head, Malaysia. I was 7 then. I had flown to Kuala Lumpur several times before to visit relatives, since Mom is originally from KL. They listen to Cantonese music like Sam Hui over there. I was told my ears were so sharp that I was able to sing any tune after only hearing it just once or twice. I even knew how to jump octaves if notes were too low for my little boy soprano voice at that age. I also used to sit on my uncle's shoulders as he took me around traditional Chinese medicine shops to sing for all the uncles and aunties. Anyway, jumping back to 1998, we packed our bags and I said goodbye to all my friends as we moved to Singapore. From peaceful, leafy, green Melbourne to Kanchong, high-tech, Kiasu, Singapore, it was a massive culture shock, and I was made fun of for having an Aussie accent. They called me Angmo Andrew, even though that couldn't be further from the truth. Mom, having acquired a new circle of Tiger Mom friends, pushed me really hard to skip a grade. See, I was already the youngest in class in Australia, having been born on the academic cutoff date to either start young or be held back. And so this meant that I was 1.5 years to 2 years younger than everyone else. Everyone was so big and I was so much smaller. And I could also never understand how my parents, who were so gentle and chill and patient with me in Australia, suddenly became like different people. They became so impatient and kiasu once we moved to Singapore. I withdrew and became emotionally distant. I did all my schoolwork just to appease Mom, and as soon as I was done, I wore headphones, listened to music, and emotionally zombied my way through life for the next 10 years or so. As a result, I have very few memories between the age 7 and 17. I was barely in touch with any emotions at all. And if I had any feelings, they came out in songs, which I would sing and then push away. I had my armor, and my armor was music. I also suffered from insomnia, and I wrote this next song during one particular sleepless night. Pretty baby, why can't you sleep at night? Is it because you find pleasure in living all the train wrecks in your mind? Lost back in time, all the memories of a different life remain. After high school, all I wanted to do was write, perform, produce, and engineer music. I got into Queensland Conservatorium, Griffith University, to do a Bachelor of Music Technology at the age of 17. I taught guitar, bass, violin, and piano part-time, and I was the musical director of a 12-piece funk and soul band that performed in casinos and RSLs, which stands for Returned and Services League of Australia. We performed for veterans who had served in the Australian Defence Force. I produced my first full-length album while I was still a student and made a second EP soon after I graduated. I played guitar, bass, keyboards, and sang in clubs on weeknights and taught music during the day. I also traveled to the countryside to play at weddings in vineyards during the weekend. I don't recall emotionally connecting with anybody during this time. If I did show my vulnerability, it was uncomfortable, and I would end relationships if they got too personal. After a while, I saw other artists and musicians achieve successes I could only dream of. This was heartbreaking for me because the only thing that mattered, that I prided myself on, was music. And I sucked. That's honestly how I felt. I'm going to jump to the present time, age 31. It's uncomfortable for me to experience vulnerability because I had spent so many years of my life being distant. But I understand now that the most important thing we have as humans is to empathize, feel, and connect with one another. Just like the insomnia song, Trainwrecks, my hidden desires and feelings always came out in my music. Yet, I had an incredible amount of insecurity because my self-worth was tied up in how my music was received. I had a tiger mom who expected perfect grades and yet was emotionally unavailable. As a result, I find human connection extremely challenging, and yet I have an insatiable longing for it. Mama, it's absurd how we have been apart. When I once was connected to you through my umbilical cord, and every inch of you fed every inch of me, yeah.
look into your eyes, there's still a part of me that lives inside. I wanna share it with you. I wanna share it with you. Yeah.
Childhood trauma comes screaming back in adult relationships. Attachment issues and residual abandonment gets amplified and wreaks havoc for young couples who turn into parents, and the cycle continues. As an emotionally distant teenager, I did a 180-degree flip and became needy and clingy as an adult whenever I paired up with distant partners. I tortured myself by staying in toxic relationships much longer than I should have, because the feeling of not getting what I needed was something that was familiar to me from childhood.
I get lost when I look at you and catch that perfume I've grown so used to. My tongue gets tied every time I try to tell you the truth. No, I can't keep up this act. No, I can't keep coming back. Can you please just set me free? 'Cause you could never be close. For you, I'm doing the most. But each day I'm fading out of you, fading out of you. I'm losing my hope for you.
Such is the way life plays out, and it's confronting when you think about it. I was my own worst enemy. I didn't know how to work in teams, so I stuck out as a renegade warrior. I puffed my chest like a peacock, but secretly cowered in my insecurity. My turning point came when I started to allow people inside. I discovered how much love, passion, and effort people wanted to invest in me. All my unworthiness as a kid started to melt away. So it comes in waves. Stuff that's embedded in the psyche gets let out slowly, one day at a time. I started to write songs to remind myself.
Strung out on my own, all I know, it gets hard to show this person in control of my soul. This is our story, and I hope you don't mind me. Slow down, there's no getting used to these breakdowns. We're getting older, still we lay down to the same sounds. Can you calm down? Drowning in sorrows is not for tomorrow, and laughter is borrowed. It's no fun at all. Strung out on my own, all I know, it gets hard to show this person in control of my soul. This is our story, and I hope you don't mind me. This is our story, baby, I hope you don't mind me. Yeah, this is our story, and I hope you don't mind me.
I once heard, one of the best things you can do for mental health and self-esteem is to contribute to others. I started helping out at the Willing Heart Soup Kitchen. My partner and I raised funds for migrant workers with a charity concert. I helped my friends with their music. I started lecturing, part-time at first, and then finally full-time. Every time I worked with a student who was struggling with self-worth, self-doubt, and insecurity, I felt like I was also healing the wounded child inside. Anybody who had no friends or felt lost, I connected with. Their victories were heartfelt, and I was compelled to watch and guide them on their journey. As a dual professional, I have a responsibility to nurture the talents of tomorrow while maintaining my creative practice. These two roles flow seamlessly into each other as I prepare my lesson plans, infused with learning tactics from what I see in the industry and what I experience in life. So students, get to know the why behind what you do. My music began as my defense mechanism, but when I opened up and let people contribute, it flourished. When I started sharing it with the world, people felt compelled to also express themselves and show the world their vulnerable, sensitive side too. If your motivation is from a dark place, ask yourself why. Don't be afraid to share it with the world. You'll be surprised to find that it will reach places you never imagined possible. This is my road less traveled, and I've still a long way to go.
Here we are, come so far, it's been hard, so this one's for the road. Won't be long till we're gone, so this song's the one that takes us home. Take a dive straight into the deep, and won't you try taking a chance with me, 'cause anytime you're feeling nervous, I just hope you hear this, and you know you're not alone. I can get a little crazy, filled with all these maybes. Maybe just put down your phone and sing la-di-da-di-da-di-da, la-di-da-di-da. Even though it's noisy, take a deeper breath and sing la-di-da-di-da-di-da to me. La-di-da-di-da-di-da to me. La-di-da-di-da-di-da to me.
Thank you, Mr. Chen, for serenading all of us, really ending the speeches with a big bang. Yes, and thank you so much as well for being so raw and open about your emotional struggles, dating all the way back to your childhood. I must imagine it's not easy opening up about, matters that used to affect you when in the past. Yes, and that was truly an inspiring story as well about a talented musician who harnessed his passion to heal and connect with others.
I think what was also quite powerful about Dru Chen was that he utilized his platform as a musician and he shared openly about what he was struggling with. I think he really realized the power in what he had, with the community and what he can do. So he really thought ahead and made sure that he can impact everyone else, and he shared it with his music. I think that was really powerful and touching. Yes. And I think there's this particular part in the speech that really clicked with me, that I really liked a lot. Okay. Was when he said, when I started sharing it with the world, people felt compelled to also express themselves and show their sensitive side too. Yes. Like, he kind of created like a domino effect. He was like a trailblazer, like the one who carried the torch. Is like, I will start the change.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
I think this whole speech that he presented to us was very relevant, especially in this modern day and age, because social media has really blurred the lines between, online interaction and physical interaction. And I think it's very important that, sometimes we take a step back and come back into reality and also be in touch with our emotions. I think that's basically what he's saying. Always
connect with ourselves as well.
Connect with ourselves. That's a very nice way to put it, connect with ourselves.
Yes, and I'm like looking at all the comment section. Everyone is just, wow, Dru Chen. I saw a comment about sounds like he's a Frank Ocean's fan. Are you, Dru? Yeah. Okay, but yes, all the audience loved your music, so thank you so much for ending this with a big bang for serenading all of us tonight. You know, Barani and I were jamming to your voice, your music, when you were playing it. Yes, and that was our very last speaker for tonight. What a truly exciting and meaningful night it has been for all of us. Am I right,
It
Barani?
has been an amazing night. This whole night was packaged with a lot of content, a lot of great insightful information, and I feel enlightened. I feel like this is my avatar monk moment. I learned about everything, you know.
There's even background music provided for you, you know, Dru.
Yes, Dru Chen playing
it's
the
a package.
background. I think this is a great way to end the night. Even though it's only a Thursday, it feels like a Friday night, and I'm ready to enter the
Time
weekend.
to sleep. Yes, so walking down their own unique road less traveled, our speakers have all proven to us why we shouldn't conform to society's expectations, and it should instead embark on our own journey that brings us happiness and fulfillment, no matter how tough the challenges that come with it. And I quote again my favorite quote from Mr. Soong, "You live for yourself."
You seem to like that quote a lot. Okay.
Yes,
Mr.
very
Soong also
relatable.
say, race it through.
Race it through.
Race it through. I like that a lot. And like they say, be the change you want to see in the world. As we close off tonight, it's your turn to share. Leave a comment and let us know what small changes you will be making from here on out to pursue your own unique path. We're so excited to see what you have to say. Don't underestimate the power you have to impact someone else's life. So Tamia, what is one small change you're going to make in this community, in this world today?
I don't know about community, but one small change I would like to see, like currently, right, is Barani with short hair.
I'm sorry, that is
So
not
aren't you
included.
guys curious?
No, I'm sorry. The kind of change we're talking about is, you know, very community spirit kind.
Okay,
you know?
but of course, one day I would really like to use my voice, you know, to really like, to empower people and inspire people. But really what is more important to me is like, being able to reach to people by being relevant. So for me, I like personal connections a lot.
Yes.
So being able to connect with someone, you know, just one-to-one and really understand and, you know, empathize to what they feel. I really like compared to, you know, like group settings and all, I prefer one-to-one interaction.
Yeah.
What about you?
I think for me, I'm more focused on creating a safe space for everyone. I think I've been in group projects before, I've been in different circles of friends before, and I think something that really makes a great group is when there is a safe space for everyone to share their own feelings, talk about their problems openly, and it's chef's kiss when
Chef's kiss again.
Chef's kiss when everyone can actually work together as a group to achieve a certain goal. And I think I want to create safe space for everyone where they can just be themselves and achieve goals that they want to achieve.
Yes, indeed. So I feel like no matter, even if it's like one-to-one or in a group setting, you know, really at the end of the day, just do what your heart tells you to and really race it through.
You seem to like his quote a lot.
Yes, indeed.
Well,
But
for me, I think since, you know, Tamia was just spitting out a lot of favorite quotes, my favorite quote or something that really resonated with me is, what puts you down is also what propels you forward, is what...
Miss Japnit.
Very good. Seems like someone's been paying attention. Very good, very good, yes.
Yeah. Okay, so right now, this was, okay, so ladies and gentlemen, with that, we have come to the end of tonight's event, unfortunately.
Unfortunately?
Yeah, I really
I am
wanted to-
actually quite sad. I want to actually listen to more stories, but good things must also come to an end, right?
Yes,
Tanya?
yes, that's right. So I would like to direct your attention to this QR code on the screen here. Okay, please scan this QR code to help us with our survey. Your feedback is very much appreciated as it will help us improve the overall experience in the years to come. No, here. Yes, that's right, over here.
Yes, once again, we'd like to say a huge thank you to all our esteemed speakers and our sponsors, Wonder Gelato, Sour Bomb, Sweet Cheeks, and Acai FM. I am Kim BBQ.
And Farley Anvil, all for you, Wat Tea, and last but not least, Canvas Yogurt.
TEDxYouth NgeeAnnP is organized by the Sandbox NgeeAnnPolytechnic's Office of Innovation and Entrepreneurship, and the Sandbox advocates NP's very own Innovation and Entrepreneurship Student Club.
We would also like to thank our very hardworking organizing committee for their efforts and dedication in making tonight such a successful and great experience for all of us. Really, without all of you here, it wouldn't have been possible. So we really would like to thank all of you and even our viewers, for staying all the way from the start, commenting so actively. We really feel as if we're not just like the two of us talking.
There's been a lot of constant sort of communication, and we really loved it. And we also, like Samya mentioned, the team who has worked tirelessly behind this. You do not see them on screen, they're all behind us right now. People have worked months on this, and we just like to say a big thank you to them for making this a really great and successful event.
Yes, thank you so much. Okay, we would just like to... Anyone have anything else to say?
So right now, okay, we're just going to go a very quick look at the comments. We have Wen Lin Chua saying, my best 2 hours spent in so long.
Same.
All right, and then we also...
Good job. Everyone is saying good job.
Yes.
So really...
Amila Kalirsa say, amazing talks, very inspirational. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good
Thank you
job.
to all the speakers.
Yes.
Really...
All right, we also have Hanisa Murizin, who also says, I thought pre-recorded, haha, no. yes, pre-recorded.
Well, okay, good job to the editing team as well, and to people behind the productions. Thank you so much, for making all this possible.
Yes, and we also have Hanisa also says after this Dru Chen
assignment. Same.
Very relatable. Okay. And I think it's quite clear. Everyone enjoyed themselves.
Yes. Wen Lin even said, "I'm so glad I threw my stacks of work aside for this."
Wow, that is true dedication right there.
Yes.
Very true dedication right there.
Yes.
Wow. Well done, Sandbox team.
Samya, what's up?
Everyone loved it. This is amazing. And I think each individual speaker really brought in their own personal story.
Yes.
I think, this year's theme is about taking the road less traveled, and all of them collectively shared their story and shared that, at the end of the day, obstacles may be obstacles, but once we overcome them, we will get to the top of the mountain.
It's really nice to hear, their life stories about the different phases they went through in life. And I saw a comment just now earlier saying how Dru Chen's songs all tell a story of a part in his life, which is really nice because songs, when we are able to relate to songs, that's like the whole purpose of it. When you're sad, you listen to emo songs.
Correct.
When you're happy, you listen to hype songs.
Yeah, so I think also Dru Chen used music to help the community, and then Miss Japnit used coding.
Yes,
so all of us just need to find our own unique way, our path.
Yes, even Mr. Josephus Tan, nothing is impossible as long as you can dream. Yes, and with that, we've come to the end of the event. Don't miss us, don't miss, the speakers or anything, always. If, I saw a comment just now also on, someone wants to learn how to code but don't know where to start. So now you know who to find.
Yes.
Miss Japnit. Okay, but thank you so much for tuning in with us.
And with that,
thank you and good night. Thank you and good night.
All the